And in front of the house, west side, we have these two pines, and we're relying on them for shade in the coming years. We've got a ways to go. One of my favorite things, though, again, is underplanting squash, pumpkin, melons. So these, again, I'm going to train to wrap in circles around the trees. Here's a melon. And have little patches. There's Mikey. Hi, Mikey. Okay, and I don't do much flowers because I think food is more important right now until I get good at it. So this is my only flower pot, and this is a mixed bag of seeds. And we got some things coming up. In front of our porch, we planted this velvet mesquite. This, believe it or not, is in its second year. It grew like 5 feet this year. It's companioned with sage and rosemary. There's a Mexican elder here, which is also harboring some, not sure if it's squash or pumpkin below, but again, the underplanting works really well. And then we've got a willow tree and some other shrubs. And we're hoping that these trees will grow fast and give us some protection on the porch from the west sun. And on the porch, we've got just a handful of potted herbs. San Pedro cactus, basil, 2 varieties, and then I have some climbing flowers in there, so I built this ladder and I'm hoping it'll climb up by the end of the summer. The front of our property, we have another bed. We're sneaking them in everywhere, and some more trees. So we have this lovely dwarf apple. There's a bed and another dwarf apple. Now these dwarves, wow, produce incredible amounts of fruit. There's probably over 100 apples on these trees. And these will be ready to eat probably later this summer. Yay! And I just planted this evergreen. Again, I underplanted melons. And this is our asparagus bed on its first year, and I'm letting a lot of stuff grow with it. So you can see, this is the asparagus. It looks like dill. And it takes 3 years before you can eat it. So this is just doing fine, really, for its first year. And then I let tomatoes, which are good companions for asparagus, grow. I just hope they don't overtake it. That's my only concern. And then we've got sunflowers. And another experiment is this squash. See it there? Yeah. Now that's a loofah, which gives you the loofah sponge for the bath. So I created it because I wanted the sponge, but you can also eat it young. When it's really young, it's very yummy. And this metal thing here, I pulled out of the trash, and that's for the squash to climb. Okay, so let's go to the backyard and look at a couple more beds. More trees that went in this year. You can see a volunteer, an amazing sunflower volunteer. This is probably a 14-inch diameter flower. It's stunning, just gorgeous, and that's going to give us seed. And then it's got a shade tree growing with it. And this is a dwarf apricot. And the wind unfortunately blew off most of our blossoms, but we did wind up with a few, so we'll be able to eat these fruit maybe in a few weeks. I remember we got 2 shipping containers and built some shade to cover the distance between them. There's the shade. And so I planted these grapes. There's 2 varieties on this side and 2 on this side. And they're starting to climb, and my goal, of course, is to get them to climb over there and fill in. So we'll see how that goes. All right, we have 2 more beds and a couple other things back here. Okay. This bed is a little bit of a chaos bed. It's got onions in it, some broccoli from the winter, which I'll probably pull. It's got spinach and herbs, and it is a little chaos. I just kind of let this one go crazy. There's kale, and then right next door we have this bed, which we just made this year. Now these 2 beds only get east light. They're blocked from the west by the house. So these beds tend to really perform. And you can see we've got squash on the end, then tomatoes. I'm growing white snowball, acid-free tomatoes, some really great varieties. We've got carrots. This is okra, all quite young. There's some parsley. And here's a few varieties of peppers, some amaranth. Finally, I've been able to grow herbs. I think that's oregano, or it might be marjoram. I have a very hard time growing herbs. If anyone has any tips, I'd be thrilled. And then here in the front is eggplant and cilantro. And I over-ordered potatoes, so I had to really be innovative on where to put them. So these are sonotubes for building, for pouring cement, and I filled them with soil. And as the potatoes grew, I packed them in with more soil, and then I packed them in with hay. And you can see our little drip irrigation. This is just a pipe that lands in here that hangs with holes drilled, and it just shoots in every direction. So we have 3 of these sonotube potato beds back here. And they love the shade from the mulberry trees, so they're doing well. Incomplete to not show you my mulch pile and manure, because really no garden can survive without them. So our city chops up trees, and if you want mulch, they'll drop it off in your yard. So this is like what's left. This was as tall as me when I got it. And I just shovel this stuff out and put it around the beds. And then we got a contact now in town for camel and cow manure. And we keep that under here. So this is all our manure, and it's 4 years old, so it's really clean, really nice, no smell. Leave the yard, I'll just show you another couple of experiments. This is garbanzo. So we have no way to know if this grows well in New Mexico, but we're trying it. So the fern-looking plant, this is the garbanzo. And then these really tiny guys, let's see if I can get a shot. Those little guys right there. These are sesame. I just took them out and planted them from seed in the house, from seedling trays. So there's a whole bunch in this bed, and we'll see how it goes. These flowers on the onions, which are so stunning, I take them in the house, I cut them and put them in the house for flowers because they steal the energy from the onion, and it's best to chop them off. And what video would be complete without Sesame, our new doggie? Hi, Ceci. For some reason, this camera makes her very nervous. So, that is my garden report. I hope that it's helpful to you, and maybe you can give me some tips on how to grow herbs, because I'm really struggling. And I hope your garden grows beautifully this summer. See ya!